Hey there, Michael here with the Bitcoin Way. I've got Tony as well. We wanted to just do a quick response to a Tucker Carlson video on the topic of Bitcoin that went out. Let's watch that real quick.
Just be totally blunt with you, and I'm sure someone's filming this, but I don't really care. Until I can, I don't know, stage a getaway with Bitcoin. I'm serious. Until I can move from country to country with Bitcoin and not be tracked as I do it, as is my inalienable human right. I have the right of free movement as a human being. I have the right of free will as a human being. That was not granted to me by the government. I was born with that. It was bestowed by God. Until I can exercise that with this currency, it's less meaningful to me. The second I can, it will be something I'd lay my life down for because it's the key to my freedom.
Alrighty, so Tony, Tucker has concerns about the ability to move his Bitcoin across borders and transact freely as his inalienable right as a human. Why don't you've got some stories to tell and you've got some thoughts on Bitcoin? Why don't you give your reaction?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm really glad Bitcoin caught his attention and he posted this video. I think Tucker is still at the stage where he's in, there's no way this thing can be real. It's too good to be true type of phase, which is exactly what I went through when I first came across Bitcoin. It did sound too amazing for it to be real, which is why I went down that rabbit hole to try to debunk it and see if there was any merit to it. And after you do the work, you do realize that this thing is not a joke. This thing was created for the purpose to restore freedom and power to the people and remove corruption, the power of money from the state. That's exactly what it was created for. And when my life got blown up and all my life savings stolen by the banks in Lebanon, Bitcoin was my only hope to get back up on my feet. I mean, at that point, you only have two options: die or figure out a way to rise again. And thankfully, there was Bitcoin, because without it, there was just no way to transact. Nothing was accessible anymore. And this is something that most people in the West don't realize, because it's such a far concept from them still, that they don't believe that a scenario like this can ever happen in the United States. And this is a very dangerous illusion to hide behind. Bitcoin restores the power of money to individuals, but it's because it's technology and it's new. Most people have no idea how to use it. And this is why education and knowledge around this is essential. And that's precisely why I co-founded the Bitcoin Way, is to push out this information to as many folks as possible, so that what happened to me can not happen to anyone else, hopefully. And I'm glad people like Tucker Carlson are starting to pay attention to it, whether sarcastically for the moment, but at least in enough way that he'll actually sit down and have a conversation, so that these details can be relayed to him in a way that may cement in his head, and hopefully he can take on this message and rebroadcast it to the millions of followers that look up to him.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. From my perspective, I mean, my initial reaction was, first of all, if not Bitcoin, what tool, what monetary tool are you going to use to exercise that right that you believe you have to cross borders and carry value with you? I mean, gold coins or bars are confiscatable, they're heavy, they're a hassle, and you've got obviously your traditional fiat. Well, you're confined to the financial system in which you find yourself. It's not so easy to just push large amounts of value around through that, certainly not with any level of privacy at all. The second thing I would say is, I think people are consumed by this fiat mindset in which, Bitcoin is an asset that needs to appreciate in value, just like my stocks or my bonds or my real estate or whatever it is. But when you go talk with Bitcoiners, they're not I mean, we're excited about number go up, but it's not like one of the attributes of Bitcoin that we ever talk about. We talk about decentralization and permissionlessness and censorship resistance and scarcity and all of these things. The great news that I have for Tucker is what he describes as his objective with Bitcoin that he wants to achieve is exactly what Bitcoin can deliver today, and has been delivering for 15 years. You can memorize 12 or 24 words, and you can take that anywhere in the world, transact globally, no counterparty risk, no third party to trust, It works exactly as he desires. I think sort of to your point, it's like a misunderstanding of the technical underpinnings of how Bitcoin works. People understand it as an asset, and they need to broaden their understanding into it's also and first and foremost a technology.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, now you're the head of security, right? So you have to be in charge of all the moving parts around securing that bank of yours. But you don't need anybody's permission. So you need to unlearn, that myth that somebody else needs to hoard your money in order for you to use it. These are the lies that we've been brainwashed with since the day we were born, and a lot of people, for some bizarre reason, have a really hard time letting go of. I mean, some people go as far as thinking they need the government's permission to use Bitcoin. Like, how ludicrous is that? This is how brainwashed these people are, and it's like extremely hard for them to even conceptualize that something that redefines the mold of the financial world in such a way is even possible, but it is. And so I think even at some point Tucker assumes that Bitcoin was created by the CIA, like another common myth that's been debunked many times. Bitcoin is not created by the CIA because there's 30,000 lines of code that are openly and readily available to anyone to audit. And there's been millions of eyes on that code for the last 15 years. If the CIA was behind it, I think somebody would have blown the whistle on this a long time ago. So again, it just illustrates that even people as respected and influential as Tucker Carlson still lack a fundamental understanding of what this is. I'm hoping I get the chance to sit down with him to privately and calmly go over all of these points so that it clicks for him as well.
Definitely. So Tucker, hey, if you're watching this, check out the Bitcoin Way. We need to get you in touch with Tony. We help people take custody of their Bitcoin so they can travel anywhere in the world, transact globally. And I think we can change your thought process on this and get you set up to properly do all of the things that Bitcoin promises. So, Tony, thanks for coming on to chat for a few minutes. And Tucker, if you're listening, get in touch.
Absolutely, man. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.